Australia has made history by becoming the first country in the entire world to implement a nationwide ban on social media platforms for children under the age of 16.
To pass a social media ban for kids under 16.
An Australian law banning social media from anyone under 16.
Ban social media for children under the age of 16.
Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced that the country is set to introduce a social media ban for children under the age of 16.
This landmark legislation was passed by Australian Parliament and it seeks to protect young people from harassment, it seeks to protect their mental well-being and to ensure that they are not exposed to the potential harms of excessive online activities. The Senate has passed the bill on November 28 by 34 votes to 19 votes. The House of Representatives in Australia has on Wednesday overwhelmingly approved the legislation by 102 votes to 13 votes. And also Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that this law supported parents concerned of the online harms which social media platforms is doing to their children.
Platforms now have a social responsibility to ensure the safety of our kids is a priority for them.
Now, is this ban right for the children, or does it infringe upon their right to freedom, or does it infringe on their freedom? Is it showing the other countries a way forward that should other countries adopt this kind of legislation or not? All these things we'll be trying to understand in today's session. Hello, my name is Preetpal Singh and you all are watching Perspective. Now, to put out things straight, in a recent legislation passed by Australian Parliament, Australia has passed a law which effectively bans the social media usage for children under the age of 16. It makes Australia the first country to come up with such sweeping regulations. And this move comes in response to mounting concerns over the impact of social media on the mental health and the well-being of young people, especially those under the age of 16 years. Especially with the rising case of cyberbullying, addiction and exposure to inappropriate content on social media platforms, especially pornographic content as well. Now, this new law, which was passed by Australian Parliament earlier this week, it requires the social media platforms to ensure that they have stricter age restrictions and stricter age verification measures now, which will ensure that those children who are below the age of 16, they are unable to access or unable to create accounts on these social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and different other social media platforms as well. So these regulations are set to be implemented as early as 2025, and it will be giving social media companies and the parents of children both the time to adapt to these new changes. Now, on one side, if you see the comments on these videos on this topic on different social media outlets, many people, they are praising the move of Australian government, and many people in India, they are wanting to have such kind of legislations being implemented in India as well. But on the other hand, several quarters have criticized this move as well. They've condemned this move as well, especially those who are advocate of free speech and freedom amongst children and youth and teens. Now, because of all these things, this issue has turned into an international issue right now, which is why deliberation and discussion on this topic is very, very important for us. Now, under this new legislation, the social media giants, social media companies, they have been given a 1-year grace period to comply with this age verification requirements. Starting from law enforcement in 2025, platforms will be obligated to implement such systems to detect and block children, those who are under the age of 16, and will also face penalties if they fail to do so. And also, companies who do not comply with these requirements will result in substantial fines being levied on them, and repeated violations could result in escalating fees which can reach up to 50 million Australian dollars. And these penalties will be levied to ensure that social media platforms, they take necessary steps to protect the children and adhere to the new age restrictions as well. Now, all the social media platforms in Australia, they are now under the pressure to comply with these new regulations. Now they will be required to develop and implement a cutting-edge technology, a new age system, which is for advanced age verification technologies to ensure that the children, they cannot access the platforms. And some companies, they have already begun exploring different ways, exploring sophisticated ways to measure or verify users' age. It can include facial recognition, digital ID systems, and also through implementation of such technologies, it also raises the concerns about privacy and data security as well. For example, if these companies are coming up with cutting edge technologies, new age technologies, and they're wanting to have the personal information of the users, especially through face recognition and through their ID verification, it can cause a major concern over privacy and security also. So that also needs to be considered and needs to be debated upon. Now, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, he has praised this new legislation, and he says that this new law is a major step in protecting the country's youth. And it is a major law to protect children's mental well-being and mental and emotional health in this digital age. Now the question is that why such a law? Was there any evidence that social media platforms are causing any harm to children under the age of 16? What is the rationale? See, one thing is very clear, that these legislations are put forward to ensure that the children, they do not suffer, children's mental well-being is protected and they are secured. Now the question is, was there any research done? So, this sweeping legislation is definitely a result of excessive research done in Australia and done by Australian health experts who have been sounding an alarm about the dangers of social media for children since last many years. So, there have been several studies which have linked excessive social media usage to higher rates of depression, anxiety, sleeping disorders amongst young people alongside other health disorders as well. Also, there was a 2023 report by Australian Psychological Society which revealed that nearly 40% of teenagers have reported feeling anxious or depressed due to their online interactions. Now, all of you must be using social media platforms, Instagram, WhatsApp, or any other social media platform. If you use it daily at excessive lengths, you tell me what is your reaction or what do you feel after excessive usage of social media. See, social media in current world is all about comparison. Instagram especially, you post photos where you feel better, where you feel great. So whenever we see Instagram posts of different people, we start comparing our lifestyles with them. And if children below the age of 16, if they are exposed to such kind of things, it can impact their mental well-being in a very, very great way, but in a very, very bad way also. Also, cyberbullying and the presence of social media comparisons, which we already discussed, have been identified as major contributors to these mental health challenges. Also, it can lead to lack of self-esteem, lack of focus, and lack of concentration amongst children especially. Also, one comparative thing which you would have witnessed in your real lives as well was that 10-15 years back or 20 years back, parents, they had to pull their children up from the ground where they were playing and tell them that please come to your home. And now the scenario is that the parents, they have to push their children that at least for half an hour you go to the ground, you go to the park and play. So this contrast over the last 20 years, this has been very widespread and this can be seen worldwide. It is not just a problem in India or Australia, it is a problem worldwide. Because now children are glued to their screens whole day. Either they are using social media or they are playing games or they are watching videos, which is why physical interaction have been very, very less. And if physical interaction is less, all of you know, man or humans, they are social animals. And if we do not interact socially, we become socially vulnerable. We become socially anxious. Also, it may lead to erosion of real life relationships as well, and also social skills, and creating a FOMO, which is in Gen Z lingo, fear of missing out. And alongside all these things, excessive usage of social media, especially by children, it decreases their productivity to great extent. Also, it drains them and it is having a lot of academic consequences as well. It disrupts their activities of schoolwork, disrupts their sports, disrupts their study, and overall disrupts their lifestyle as well. And also one more crucial point is there, that sometimes there is exposure to harmful content as well, such as suicide or self-harm, and it can increase their vulnerability to such extreme viewpoints also. So for radicalization also social media is used by different people, and if students or children they're exposed to these radical elements, do you think what will be the impact on their mental well-being? It will be totally distorted, which is why from different health experts, from different quarters, from the perspective of parents and lawmakers, many people they agree that this should have been done in other countries as well, and Australian government doing this is a very great step forward. But also one more important thing to know is that this is also not devoid of any criticisms. There have been fair share of criticisms in relation to this law as well. This ban, it has faced considerable pushback from several quarters and critics, and it says that it infringes on children's freedom or right to free expression. Also, the advocates of digital rights, they have warned that this may create some black markets for social media. So in reality, if you see, alcohols in some state is banned, or alcohol under the age of 18 is banned. But is it a deterrent factor for those who are under the age of 18 to not drink alcohol? Definitely they do so, but through a black market, through different routes. Which is why many experts say that if we outrightly ban social media for those under the age of 16, it might lead to creation of black markets. Students, they might find alternatives. Many apps in disguise might come, where the disguise would be that it is a productivity app and it might work as a social media only. For example, LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is a professional network. It is used for networking and finding jobs. But if students see that LinkedIn is not banned and all the other apps, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok or Snapchat, they are banned and LinkedIn is not banned, they might move to LinkedIn and they might create fake profiles, which is why this ban in that case might not be that effective. Also, children can definitely bypass the age verification system with falsified information, or they can make an adult person create an ID and use that ID for themselves. So implementational wise, there could be several lacunas which could be there in this particular system. Also, additionally, many people say that it can have a consequence, a very bad consequence of alienating young people who increasingly view social media as a vital tool for their social interaction and also learning and self-expression. So this is also one perspective given from the other quarters. Now, there have been several countries like France and US where several states have passed such laws which have restricted the access of minors to these social media platforms, and also parental permissions have been made compulsory in several states, but ban in Australia is absolute. Now, there is a full under 14 years ban in Florida also, which is being challenged in a court on the grounds of free speech currently. Also, one example you see in Germany. Now, in Germany, minors between the age group of 13 to 16 years can only use social media with parental consent. Further, in European Union, for children under the age of 16, the consent of the parent is needed to extract their personal data. Also, to add to it, as of August 2023, China released its guidelines for establishment of minor modes for mobile internet. In this, the intent of this guideline was to limit the usage of social media again for children. And it says that teenagers who are between the age of 16 to 18 will be allowed maximum 2 hours to use smartphones per day. And those who are under the age of 16, maximum they will be allowed 1 hour for using smartphones in a day. So this is nothing new. There have been small legislations throughout the world surrounding this issue. But Australia has now passed a complete ban, a universal ban in the whole country. Now, there can definitely be different challenges in banning social media. It can be different privacy concerns which might exist. There can be challenges of age verification. Definitely, we have already discussed that. There can be a problem of circumvention also. Experts argue that it could lead to increased use of anonymous platforms or VPN services, making it difficult to monitor the online activity of children. And also it can lead to exposure of harmful sites because children, they would definitely find alternatives, especially those at the age of 14, 15 and 16 years. And it can push children towards dangerous online sites such as dark web, which can further increase the challenges of cybercrime. Now the question is, what is the way ahead? Definitely there could be stricter age verification methods. Technology could be more robust, the verification system could be more cutting edge, and also parental consent should be clubbed with this. Because parental consent, if given, definitely it will help or aid students and children to use social media effectively. And above all, digital literacy education needs to be imparted in schools. Because digital era is a very vital part of children these days. And if they are not educated about how to use digital technologies in their everyday life in the schools, then it would be meaningless. Education, if not adopting to the current ways, current means and current circumstances, is meaningless and waste. Which is why education sector needs to update their information as to what they are trying to teach the children. And above all, platform-based interventions with specific time limits could be introduced. Social media platforms can have the feature of limiting screen time, which they've already included. Some social media platforms are already having this, and especially for younger users, they can use AI-powered tools to filter harmful content and to promote positive content amongst children of the country. So while Australia's social media ban, it is groundbreaking. Experts, they are yet to see are other countries following the pursuit of Australia or not. See, currently with the global reach of social media platforms and the growing awareness of their impact on the youth, their negative impact on the youth, it remains to be seen that similar regulations or similar laws would be enacted by different other countries or not. As the law is taking shape, one thing is absolutely clear, that Australia has taken a very bold step, confronting the complex challenges of this digital age and also prioritizing the mental health, the health and safety of its young age population. Now, whether India should come up with such a law or not, and in what way or form, do let me know in the comment section. I hope you gained a new perspective from this session. All the very best and have a great day. Thank you.